Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm with...
Paul A. Presenza, known as the Moo Cow. Moo!
And I'm with...
Just Jen.
Alright, so we're here to discuss B-movie slashers. And but before we do that, I would like to thank and give a shout out to all our subscribers. We have 26 subscribers now, so thank you. Woo!
Yay!
For our second show, that's pretty awesome. So thank you so much. But unfortunately, I couldn't get all 26. Some of you guys have private subscriptions, so I don't know who you are. So please leave a comment below and let us know. If we don't mention your name, it's not because we're being mean. It's because we just didn't know. Sorry. So first of all, Michael Sebekis. I'm really bad with your name, Michael. I'm sorry. And then Cruda Savage on YouTube. Cheryl Mack. Tim O'Donnell. Tony Cordero, a.k.a. Tony Has 9 Fingers.
Yay!
Myron Smith. Matthew Doulis. Andrew Watches Movies. And if I say your names wrong at all, please, for the love of God, correct us. Let us know. Like, write it down below. Let's see. Then there's also Rick Weaver, Cameron Scott, Keenan Powell, John Pearson, Rodkin Mayhem, Eric Spudik, and Philip Ward. So thank
Philip
you.
Ward, very cool.
Yeah, he's one of our newest subscribers.
Yay! Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we will also go into what was your favorite B-movie slasher Twitter poll. So we'll be doing these Twitter polls. If you're following us on Twitter, it's Indie Film Cafe. We'll leave a link down on the bottom so you guys can come check it out. Down on the bottom. First of all, we've got Slumber Party Massacre, which got 29%. We got The Mutilator, which got 14%. The Burning, which got 29%. And Other, which got 28%. Let's see, there's Cinema Steve said he liked Pieces, and that's Steven _ Souza at Twitter. And then Andrew Watches Movies said, okay, strictly B-movie, so the iconic ones are out. We're going to actually talk about that. We actually have a discussion about whether or not some of the iconic ones, at least the first ones of the iconic ones, are actually considered B-movies or not. So he said he thinks that My Bloody Valentine, 1981, is a very underrated and above the ones on the list. So thank you. I know from experience, I love the original My Bloody Valentine. It's actually one of the few remakes I still enjoy too. So thank you so much for mentioning that one. And so we're going to go pretty much right into it. Into our kind of like what our thoughts on B-movie slashers. Fortunately, Just Jen hasn't really watched many of them, you know, so she can't. She'll mention something in a little bit.
It's all part of her education.
Yes.
I'm not big into slasher movies. That's kind of the problem. Sorry.
I'm really not that interested in them either. It's kind of been sort of an overdone genre, if you ask me. But it does have a long tradition. I mean, they were doing these sorts of films back in, you know, the 50s, 60s, 70s, the whole Giallo thing in Italy. You know, but to me, the first one that really sort of hit it is Halloween, you know, and the thing about it is some people don't understand that that was an independent film. In fact, it was the most successful independent film of its day, and I think Blair Witch is the one that finally knocked it off of its pedestal as being the most successful independent film of all time. Yeah, so there's absolutely no reason not to include some of the more iconic films that we were talking about.
So we'll go into, like, I guess a lot of... We got a cat that is having some fun. I might have to kick him out in a little bit. Because, you know, I know people are going to be upset, but, you know, because he's a cutie, but he is kind of a little bit distracting. But, yeah, so... Alright, let me go field that real quick. You guys continue to talk.
You can't tell, but we have a bunch of dogs here, and we have a cat here. We have Continuity Monkey here, so
you here,
and me here. So yeah, there's plenty of critters here on the loose. So technical critter difficulties here. There goes Obi out the door. Sorry, buddy. You know, I'll tell you what. When we talk about cat people, we'll bring him back and we'll get his views on that. That's right. Classic Val Lawton. There you go.
Sorry, if he wants to come in, we'll let him in a little bit.
Yeah, you kick him out and then you let him in when he makes those sad eyes.
That's right. Starts purring.
Such a sucker.
Damn. All right.
Back to
so,
slasher movie.
Back to slasher movies. Here we are showing off our really, really sweet soul, and we're going to talk about killing people. All right. Anyway, so slasher movies. Some of my favorite slasher movies from B-movie genre. We're going to do one of them pretty soon. It's called Midnight Skater.
Oh yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
It is one of the less known B movies and stuff. Let's see. There's also a movie called The Janitor that I really enjoy. It's
I don't think I know that one.
yeah. It's basically a janitor who goes crazy and kills people. So,
Okay.
yeah. So it's a really great movie. I loved it. There's let's see. I'm trying to think of. There's a few really, really good ones that are like independent stuff. I know Troma put out a lot.
Right.
Would you consider the Puppet Master movies a slasher?
I think puppet movies are kind of its own genre because there's an awful lot of movies that just involve puppets and toys and things of that nature coming to life. That probably is its own thing,
Okay.
in my opinion. But you know, I tended to, you know, because I'm not that particularly interested in the genre, I tend to like things that are a little bit more obscure or a little bit different. You know, things like what was it, the Psychotic or Patrick, where they were sort of slashers, but they were doing it with their minds. They were like sort of psychic slashers. Mm-hmm. Those were kind of interesting films. And then from the stinker point of view, I think about movies like Headless Eyes. I don't think you guys have seen that one. That's a really, really bad
I've seen
movie.
The Killer Eye, but I've never seen
No, this is Headless Eyes. This
Wait,
is
I think
the 70s.
Full Moon might have put that out on its one of its different labels or whatever.
Okay.
It's like, but yeah, I don't know.
Season 2 we'll be doing Headless Eyes. It's pretty bad, but yeah, it's just it's about this artist who goes crazy and he's got to have their eyes and and so he starts that sort of a collection.
Sounds decent.
Maniac, the one with Joe Spinelli.
Yep, Maniac.
Yeah, so
Maniac
there's one.
Cop.
No, Maniac Cop. Yeah,
I think that was also done by the same guy, William Lustig, if I'm correct. Both of them were done
I believe so.
by him. There's tons of, at that particular time, there was a lot of, movies being made that were kind of, as I said, there was The Mutilator, Burning, The Town That Dreaded Sundown,
Right.
which also got
I
its own
love
like
that
remake,
movie.
but I haven't seen the remake. I know a lot of people are
It's good.
actually in the remake.
It's good.
So I've heard that.
And I'm not really a remake kind of guy, but it's actually very well done. I was very pleased.
So there's a ton of really great B-movie slashers. It's so funny because the movie that got me back into horror was Scream, and that was definitely not a B-movie slasher, but it did open my eyes to rewatching slasher movies and stuff, and so I started watching some of the more obscure ones. I went to the video store and would rent the video store that they don't exist anymore really. But I used to go to the video store and rent. Go to the horror section, and they had some great, every B movie had a great cover art. And I would look at the cover art and I'd be like, oh man, either I want to see this or, maybe someday I'll watch it. So
Right, it was designed to sort of grab you and drag you in, and even if the movie was crappy, as long as it had decent art, there was a good chance someone's gonna take it off the shelf. I'm thinking movies like Microwave Massacre and
Massacre, that's-
3 on a Meat Hook. all those kind of late 70s, early 80s type slasher kinds of
Texas
things.
Chainsaw Massacre,
Texas Chainsaw
which
Massacre.
technically you can consider that a B movie slasher
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
that was a very independent, low budget.
And
horror.
that movie kind of really set the bar for, you know, it being a lot more violent, a lot more bloody, being a lot more explicit, and just sort of changing horror from, you know, sort of being creepy and scary into something that was a lot more visceral, you know. So yeah, it certainly set the bar in a lot of different areas. But all of that stuff kind of happened before Scream and stuff like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that's sort of when Hollywood said, hey, we can start making some money off this kind of genre, and they started making those movies.
Right, and there was actually a movie. I don't think it was a slasher movie. It was an alien monster movie, but it was kind of the movie that I think inspired Scream, even though they never. It's called "There's Nothing Out There." Great movie. Rolf Konevsky's film. Really good. Really good flick. You should check that out at some point. But kind of you had the guy like saying the rules to a horror film, and so that's why it might have done that. But it a lot of those things did follow along the lines of a slasher, or whatever. So but yeah, the ideas of the slasher films back in the 80s when it started becoming, because the first B movie slasher movie was Black Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Technically, I mean, well, unless you want to, you can't call Psycho a B movie.
No.
And that was the first slasher. Then they did, knockoffs of that. And then they did, Black Christmas was the first one to kind of do it. I rewatched that recently, and I mean, it still holds up as a great movie. And then kind of that inspired Halloween, I think. There's no real, John Carpenter never, I think, fully said that or anything, you know what I mean? But if you look at Black Christmas and you look at Halloween, which Black Christmas came out first, Halloween came out later, it was, they're both holiday slasher movies set in basically almost one location,
right.
And everything.
But there were other things before that still had slashers, and I'm thinking, Ray Dennis Steckler did the Chopper, or Chooper as they like to call it, which is basically a slasher movie based on supposed to be a Native American spirit coming back in, and that was 1970, something like that. So the idea of a slasher or somebody going around and just systematically killing people has been around for a while, especially in B movies. But it just took a while because it's not the sort of thing that Hollywood would have bothered with making a movie with until later on. And like I said, in the 80s, early 80s is really when it took off.
And I've heard so many people describe Chopping Mall as a B movie slasher, and that has robots shooting things at people and stuff. So I don't really consider that necessarily.
No.
It has a serial killer killing people, but then it has all this other random junk in the mall. It's a great movie. Have you never seen it?
Of course not.
It's more of I thought of it as more as a satire, frankly.
Oh yeah, no, this is more of a parody of that kind of stuff, but done really well. Jim Wynorski, who directed it, does those kind of that's his kind of thing. He'll take an idea and he'll just go out and make a B movie like that, or whatever. You got something, you got money, give me money, I'll make a B movie version of this, and great.
And then you've got even lesser movies like that. You get into Z movies. One of the movies I plan on showing you guys next season is Hookers in a Hotel, which is about literally a serial killer, as in somebody who kills people with boxes of cereal. So
why is it called Hooker in a Hotel?
There's a whole story behind it. Don't ask questions.
Just accept it.
Just accept it.
Oh dear.
Well, I guess that's kind of more of the stuff. So if you guys have B movies that you enjoyed, please comment below. Let us know. And definitely check out our Patreon page that we
Definitely.
have. Tell them about.
Yep. So we have our friend Angela Owens Barnes. She was very generous, and she gave us a nice donation. It was $10. It was really amazing. Something like that. It was something like that. It was very, very generous, and we appreciate it. So giving you a shout out, especially from Continuity Monkey. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And anybody else who's feeling generous, we would love to get your moolah. Thank you.
Yeah, and definitely subscribe. If there's something that you want us to discuss on the show, please let us know. Once again, there's going to be links to everything. We've got our email address, which is indiefilmcafe@gmail.com. We have that Reddit that we talked about the last episode.
The Reddit.
That I haven't really been playing with.
Facebook.
We got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Instagram we don't post as much. I need to figure out.
Yeah,
I mean,
get
I,
on that.
I think you're going to be Instagram gal for us.
Oh.
There you go.
she's telling me to get on it, and then he's like, I'm gonna make her do it.
There you
Just
go.
because I haven't watched any slasher movies.
Oh, and then one thing we did mention, and we should probably mention here, since Angela blazed the trail for us, we were talking about anybody who makes a donation of $10 or more on our Patreon account is going to be able to suggest a movie for us to suffer through. So if you have a particularly evil, bad, stinky, or terrible film you'd like to see us talk about, go ahead and make that pledge, and we will suffer through that film. You know, as long as it's something to do with like a B movie or a stinker,
We can get a hold of it.
and we can get a hold of it, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'd have to be able to get a hold of it. You know, sometimes that's the hardest thing. Like a lot of those B movies from the '80s and everything are only available on VHS. So
That's right. That's right.
know. And I love all you guys who collect VHSs. You guys rock.
Absolutely.
Because that to me is an awesome thing. But don't take my VHSs because I want them.
Well, it's great because there are movies that simply have not been released on DVD, and so we're going to shout those out whenever we cover a movie that you can only get in VHS. We'll talk to you about it, and I'd love to see some of those old movies get re-released, even on Blu-ray or anything.
Shout Factory's been doing really good. Like they're the ones who Scream Factory released like Microwave Massacre and things like that. So I love them. They're doing a top-notch job.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Keep it up.
Okay.
And once again, if you have something, and I forgot to mention this before, but if you have something that you want us to shout out about, like watch, and we might do like a little mini review and have it up here for people to see and talk about it. Please feel free to send it to us. Just email us at Indie Film Cafe and we'll get you all the information. So please send us some stuff. We love watching movies. I'm about to actually do a video soon of me talking about a couple of the ones that I've gotten from some people. So thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode, the second episode. And remember, if I mentioned you in the beginning, or I didn't mention you in the beginning, and you are a subscriber, I think I have like 11 or 12 people I need to mention. Please, for the love of God, tell us. We will go and we will mention you. in our next
Absolutely.
one. Shout out.
And gonna give a shout out there for everyone who has considered themselves a continuity monkey groupie.
I keep laughing because this dog keeps going and does not like the squeaky
Aw.
noise. He is now gonna get into the frame.
That's okay.
Yeah, he wants to. He wants.
Save the
to.
monkey!
Save the monkey. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye.